Hey YouTubers, welcome back to video number 24 of Small Engines Questions and Answers for Friday, November 26th, 2010. So we haven't gotten much snow yet, just a few flakes here and there, but no snow to stay yet. Usually we do have snow at this time, but it doesn't always stay. Some other parts of Canada have had a lot of snow actually. We're actually in a snow belt here in the Muskoka area near Barrie, Ontario, so usually we get a lot more snow here than other parts. Before I get started today, I'm just going to show you this old Stihl Lightning Contra chainsaw. In Canada they call them the Lightning, and in Europe Contra. Things in 1959. You're actually going to be seeing a video that I will be posting on this saw soon. My first question today is a YouTuber uses a lawn tractor with a 15 horsepower Kohler engine that he uses as a snowplow in the wintertime. Now he's wondering what kind of oil to use. Well, you could use a 5W30 oil or a 5W20 oil, or you can also use 5W30 or 520 synthetic oil. Those are winter grade oils, much better for your engine because the oil won't be as thick as, let's say, an SAE 30 oil for the summertime. Now the next question is regarding a Troy-built snowblower. They're made by MTD. Now the YouTuber has a problem with the cable type adjusting chute. Now I don't have a Troy built in here. This is made by MTD, this machine, and it does have the chute that adjusts with the cables. Now this has the remote chute adjustment here, from here. Now if you find that you put the chute down like that and you're blowing snow and it comes up on its own like that, what you need to do is tighten up the two nuts on each side. Not too tight, but just tight enough that you can still move it with the lever like this. But to the point that when you're blowing snow, it's not going to move the chute up on its own. Now the YouTuber emailed me back after I answered that question and told me he doesn't have the arm here to adjust the chute like that. So he's also got cables that will adjust the direction of the chute. And what's happening is he'll adjust the chute in one direction and then it's going to move on its own to another direction. So that can be annoying because you want to blow the snow in one direction and then it could turn the other way and blow in your neighbor's driveway. So what you could do for that is you could check the position of all your cables down here. It's going to be slightly different on his blower. You might want to check how tight the levers are. If they're really loose on console, it could be making it easier for the chute to turn direction. Also check down here that all the bolts are tight where the chute bracket is down here. But the most common problem I found was where the cables trail. Because sometimes you move the chute and the cable doesn't quite move the way it should and it's putting pressure for it to go back in the other direction. If I do get a Troy-built snowblower with the same features, I will make a video on it. My next question today is a YouTuber is asking me if the engine from a snowblower needs to be removed from the body in order to adjust the valves. Well, the answer to that is no, and I'll just show you quickly why. So if you've got a Tecumseh like this is a flathead motor. What you need to do is to remove the muffler, all the bolts here, this cover here. It's easier if you remove the carburetor and so forth, and then you go from there. I will be making a video hopefully this winter on how to do that, so remember that you don't need to go through all the work of removing your engine from your snowblower to adjust the valves. Even if your snowblower is an overhead valve engine, you do not need to remove the engine from the snowblower to adjust the valves. I only remove an engine from the snowblower when I'm doing major work to it, like removing the piston, the rings, connecting rod, and so forth. Now, my last question today, YouTuber has a consumer grade Husqvarna chainsaw similar to this, and he's having a hard time putting back the chain brake on after replacing the chain. Now, when I mention the chain brake, it's this whole cover here, including the handle. Now, when you replace the chain, you're obviously going to remove this cover. Now what could be causing this problem of having a hard time putting the chain brake back on is that the old chain is slightly longer than the new chain. Over time the chain stretches and you have to keep adjusting the bar by tightening this screw here, which is the chain adjuster. So if you tighten it in, it's going to tighten the chain on the bar. If you loosen it, it's going to loosen the chain. There's a little pin here that grabs in the bar hole right here. So when you tighten it, it moves the bar forward. If you loosen it, it allows the bar to go back to loosen the chain. So that's what's going on. When you put a new chain on, what happens usually is that it's a tiny bit shorter than the old one because it's not stretched. Therefore, it throws off your original settings for your chain. So when you go to put the chain brake cover back on, it may not align with the hole right here on the bar. So usually you would have to unscrew this screw here a turn or two to allow it to go back enough to go in that little hole. When you go to put the chain brake cover back on, you want to look inside here and make sure that the little pin in there will go right into the hole. You're going to know it's in the hole because everything's going to be nice and flush here, or tight, and the studs are going to stick out the way they should. If the little pin's not in the hole, the cover may not go in as deep as it should. So that's one way of knowing it's not in there all the way. Now another common and completely different problem could be that your chain brake is in the on position. So if it's been moved forward like this, that means it's on. It tightens up the band here, and therefore the band is too small now to fit over the clutch over here. So now if you go to put it on with the brake on, it's just not going to go on. So what you have to do in this case is grab the cover and the handle and move it back till you hear click. Like that. Now the band is expanded and it's going to fit right over the clutch. And now you can reinstall your chain brake cover. Once you've put the chain brake cover back on, make sure your chain is adjusted right. You want just a little bit of slack here like that. And the chain has to be able to move freely like this. So thanks again for watching this episode of Small Engines Questions and Answers. We'll see you next Friday in the next video.